What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Tuesday, November 9th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 3-game slate tonight. Now, the picks kind of flopped yesterday. I wasn't impressed, but I do like the picks on this 3-game slate. So let's get into it. At the point guard position, I like Reggie Jackson from the LA Clippers playing the Portland Trailblazers, who have the 11th worst defense overall and they're middle of the pack defending opposing point guards. Reggie Jackson has averaged 30.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He's projected at 30.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.9 times value. I think he can score 32 fantasy points or more in this one and get you 5 times value or more. He's $6,300 DraftKings salary and $200 less on FanDuel. So I like that price on both sites. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 220.5 points scored in this game. And Reggie Jackson has scored 33, 31, and 51 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 36, and 36 minutes. So I like Reggie Jackson here versus the Portland Trailblazers. Okay, now if you're looking for a value play at the point guard position, take a look at Anthony Simmons from the Portland Trailblazers playing the LA Clippers, who have a good defense overall. They give up the 13th most fantasy points to opposing point guards or shooting guards, and Anthony Simmons has averaged 22.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 23 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He's projected at 22.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.9 times value. He's $3,800 DraftKings salary, $600 more on FanDuel. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 220.5 points scored in this game. And I like this pick because Anthony Simmons has hit value on DraftKings 90% of the time so far this season. That's a stat that you can see if you have a bigger screen here. You can see what's called their hit percentage. And that you can also see that if you have a smaller screen or if you're on mobile and you tap on the dash rank, you'll see what's called the chance to hit 5 times value. The chance to hit 5 times value is 90%. So that means over the course of the season, Anthony Simmons has hit 5 times value or more 9 out of 10 times. So that's a pretty good track record. And he scored 22, 22, and 19 fantasy points the last 3 games, playing 23, 21, and 24 minutes. So I like Anthony Simmons here versus the LA Clippers. And before we move on here, I just want to point out this play. Although it's a back-to-back, this guy's playing monster minutes. Take a look at Tyrese Maxey from the Philadelphia 76ers playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Tyrese Maxey has averaged 28.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 19% usage rate. He's projected at 30.1 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.9 times value. He's $6,200 DraftKings salary, $400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 222.5 points scored in this game. And Tyrese Maxey has scored 42, 29, and 37 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 39, 44, and 44 minutes. So that is monster minutes, lots of opportunity to hit value here. So I like Tyrese Maxey here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like CJ McCollum from the Portland Trailblazers playing the LA Clippers, who have a good defense overall. They give up the 13th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. CJ McCollum has averaged 38.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 39.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. He's $7,200 DraftKings salary, $800 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 220 points scored in this game, and CJ McCollum has scored 21, 43, and 44 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 24, 40, and 35 minutes. And CJ McCollum, he's hit 5 times value 70% of the time so far this season. Think he's a little underpriced on DraftKings, so I like CJ McCollum here versus the LA Clippers. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Nicholas Batum from the LA Clippers playing the Portland Trailblazers, who have the 11th worst defense overall. They give up the 12th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Nicholas Batum has averaged 26.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 14% usage rate. He's projected at 26.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's $5,200 DraftKings salary, $800 more on FanDuel. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 220 points scored in this game, and Nicholas Batum has scored 35, 27, and 34 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 28, 29, and 29 minutes. So he's been on fire, and he's hit 5 times value 63% of the time. So I like Nicholas Batum here versus the Portland Trailblazers. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Bojan Bogdanovic from the Utah Jazz playing the Atlanta Hawks, who have the 7th worst defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing power forwards. Bojan Bogdanovic has averaged 26.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 26.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's $5,300 DraftKings salary, $200 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 221.5 points scored in this game, and Bojan Bogdanovic has scored 20, 29, and 34 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 31, 33, and 30 minutes. And I like this pick because he scored 34, 30, 23, and 32 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Atlanta Hawks. He's hit 5 times value 50% of the time so far this season. So I like Bojan Bogdanovic here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, moving on to the center position. So eligible at the center position, I like Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Philadelphia 76ers, who have a good defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing power forwards or centers. And Giannis Antetokounmpo has averaged 55.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 35% usage rate. He's projected at 57 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 11,400 DraftKings salary, 100 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 222.5 points scored in this game. And Giannis has scored 67, 43, and 60 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 39, 30, and 26 minutes. And he's hit 5 times value 50% of the time. I never seem to get this pick right. Whenever I pick or play Giannis, he seems to have a subpar game, scores like 40 fantasy points, which isn't going to get it done for you when you're paying 11,400 DraftKings salary. So I'm looking for a 60 plus fantasy point game, but I do like his chances here tonight because he scored 58, 63, 57, 67, and 73 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the 76ers. And Joel Embiid is out, so he could have a monster game here tonight. So I like Giannis Antetokounmpo here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.